Pontiac, or in this case, Naughty-ac. Anyway, what I had going on this time in the Pontiac was I had no blower motor. So about a month ago, I salvaged from a pink car a electrical connector from here and here to here, because the electrical connector on my Pontiac was all melted and it was not making good conductivity with the blower motor fan, and it caused that to happen. It melted the actual connectors that are going to the fan. So I soldered in the new connector and put heat shrink tubing around it. Well, that worked great until the ground wire started to become unsoldered. So I took off the old blower motor fan from the Pontiac, cut the old heat shrink tubing, and investigated what was going on here. And now uxwbill is going to assist me in either resoldering all that or just resoldering the ground wire. So you gotta stay tuned, because this is an interesting little fix here.
Going back to prehistoric Indian days, or whatchamacallit days, I like to call it pre-alcohol days, because they didn't know how to brew the stuff yet. I'm gonna send a neighbor to the key keeper telling me
you're gonna send a neighbor to the key keeper? I think you've had a few too many already.
I'm gonna send a message to the key keeper telling him I need some good stuff. Now I believe 3 is good, but we're gonna make it 4 for urgent matter. All right.
I can't believe how much dust there is in that thing.
I think 1 more to tell him it's a big urgent 10-4. All right. Jimmy Johns. Damn, better than cell phones. Alright everybody, so if you're over watching Furhead's channel, as you should be, you'll see that he's posted a video for the first time in a very long time about the hazards of doing automotive work while you're not totally sober, which is mostly a joke. Let me show you what else happens when either you've had a few too many or your temper gets a hold of you. Check this out. The key keeper should not be very proud of himself, because he got very angry at the fan in the Naughty-ac, and he engaged in some seriously naughty behavior. So this thing's junk. The motor's probably still good, but the fan wheel is all tore up. So what we have here is something from the pink Buick, which we're going to put back in this car. Now, as he explained, he was having electrical problems with the blower in this thing, and the way GM did this is stupid, because there's like 10,000 amps going through like 14 gauge wire here, and that's just no good at all. So what he did, because the connector actually melted both here in the wiring harness and on the fan itself, and if that sounds like what the Caprice wagon did, you're exactly right. He snipped the connector off of the pink Buick, and the first thing that you will notice is the difference in wire gauge. I'd say that's 12 gauge wire, and that's probably somewhere around 14 to 16 gauge wire. So GM was clearly cheaping things out a little bit in the Pontiac, while the fan motors remain essentially the same thing. And they pull an obscene amount of current. I've hooked them up to a regulated 12-volt power supply, and even at low voltages, they're sucking down 3 or 4 amps at like 5 volts. And I seem to remember that when I did the math and had it running wide open full tilt from a battery, that we were sinking somewhere around 175 watts going into that fan motor, and this wiring is just no kind of a match for that. So as you can see, he had to graft in the connector from the pink Buick, and we had a little bit of a I just heard Furhead say a swear word over there. We had a little bit of a soldering malfunction. This joint up here is okay, but the ground joint down here needs a little bit of work, because we're not getting good power to the fan motor, and with bad connections like that, we're just asking to melt our good fan, and then we'll have to go get a crappy one from AutoZoned Out that has a lifetime warranty, which, as you all know from watching our channel and the automotive experts that we are, means that you will spend most of your lifetime replacing fan motors as they crap out. So basically, I'm going to fill in a little more solder on this one right here, this purple wire, and I'm going to pull this connection apart down here and clean it up and resolder it. We're going to put this back together and see if we still need to do any troubleshooting, which means we'll have to go inside and find a gun and actually shoot the car.
I don't blame you.
And then we'll send it off to the rendering plant to be melted down into new fan motors or glue or something like that. I don't know. Alright everybody, Bill here once again, and you can see I've just soldered the ground wire together. I've got a little piece of heat shrink tubing waiting in the wings down here. That's definitely not my prettiest soldering job ever, but it should do. It definitely is a million times better than what was there. Now I'm getting ready to tie the hot wires together, and then we'll plug the fan motor in and verify that it either is or is not working properly. Hopefully it is, because I really don't want to have to delve into this car's electrical system like this fun little bulkhead connector over here and all that good stuff.
Looking for some hot stuff, baby, tonight.
I hope we're not going to find any hot wires in this car. Now there, with a little glint of sun on it, you can see how I've twisted the wires together in preparation for soldering. I also went ahead and I rubbed them on this sanding disc from Furhead over here, because it seems like there's some kind of a coating material on the wire that caused the first attempt that the keykeeper made to fix this not to work very well, since the solder did not meld appropriately with the wire. Ideally, it would be good if I knew where my container of flux was, because that would make this go better still, but I don't, and I don't feel like running to get one right now, so it'll just have to work. Alright, now here the solder joints are all done up. One of them's got heat shrink tubing over it that in just a moment, if I didn't manage to lose the lighter somewhere creative, I'm going to go ahead and shrink that puppy down. We're going to plug in the fan and see what happens. Now, with the wiring connector all fixed up in here and ready to go again, it's time to turn our attention to the fan motor terminals. Now, this fan motor over here that I just discarded so callously, you can see the effects of the high current draw on it and the heat buildup in the connector. It's actually caused those two contact pins right there to become melted and messed up. Now, this original motor from the pink Buick is still good, but we want to keep it that way because I have not heard too many flattering things about the aftermarket blowers, and I don't know if you can still get a genuine General Motors blower fan for this car. I've also heard that some of those are not as good as they used to be either, that apparently they changed the size and composition of the blower wheel so that it doesn't move nearly as much air as it did and isn't quite as effective. So basically I'm going to clean these terminals up with a little bit of sandpaper, and then a little while later I'll put an electrical oxidation guard paste in there to protect them as well.
Either he has had one too many beers to drink, or he has been around cars too long. But I think we have a case of Edward Wiper hands on our hands here.
Here, let me clean your windshield. Alright, bud, you ready? Hug!
Yeah, let's fire it up and see what kind of results we get here. Bizarre Furhead, you want to do the honors?
Alright. If these things are working at all properly, they are frickin' wicked when they're turned on. They also move a ton of air. You got the climate controls on?
Yeah.
We're not getting anything.
I know the fan works.
Alright everybody, the saga of troubleshooting the, I almost said Buick, Pontiac's fan electrical system continues. We did indeed test the blower motor from the old cold forgotten Buick, and it's good. I put it down on my benchtop power supply, and while it doesn't have anywhere near enough current delivering ability to get this thing up to full speed, it was more than sufficient for a run-up.
Pontiac, I've had it with you. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
You going to give it a nice, delicious meal of sodium silicate a little later tonight?
Yes, I am.
Anyway.
Let you know the Buick 3800, let it cool off.
It'll probably start right back up again. What we have here in the electrical system on this car is a maxi fuse for the air conditioning system that, with electronic automatic blower controls, goes into this blower control module, which in turn has two outputs on it. One of them a common or ground terminal that goes onto the blower motor, and you can see where it goes to ground up there using the schematic symbol. And then you have the blower motor output as well. Now, I suspect that this control module has probably failed because we're only getting about 1.4, 1.5 volts at the blower fan connector. But just in case it would have anything to do with it, we're going to check on this AC feedback fuse in the instrument panel fuse compartment. I tell you what, Furhead is upgrading this Jeep so much. This looks like something they do at David's farm. Oh man, I wonder.
I'm seriously gonna do that.
Done. That's a $300 Rate & Co 5-point racing harness seat.
We'll get in and see how it works.
I'm gonna try and bust my balls off.
It's probably a very good. It's probably a very good thing this vehicle has an airbag. No, that's not going to help
Only on
whoever.
the passenger side.
It's not going to help whoever he crashes into.
Somehow that's not going to work.
That was a satisfying crunch.
I think you look tall, Eric.
Oh man, this is too much.
Ow!
He looks like one of those grandmas you see hunched over the steering wheel.
You want to race, sucker?
I think you better make sure that $5,300 seat of yours is bolted down.
Nothing's gonna matter much.
You know, there's a warning on the floor painted on with a sticker that says the floor may become extremely hot without
Look
the
at him
carpet in
counting to
place.
see which gear he's in.
And I'm
Brakes are good.
You going through the windshield yet?
there's a warning on the floor that says the floor may become extremely hot without the carpet in place to protect the passengers, and he's put a plastic lawn chair on the floor. Hoping for a gear, any gear would do.
Am I in reverse? I can't tell.
Yeah, you got your reverse lights on, if they're still working properly.
Come on. Can't see my ass feathers.
Don't hit the Pontiac.
I got plenty of room. Ah, yeah, plenty of room.
What are you trying to do?
Jockey. Should I have a seatbelt on?
You should have some headbanging music on, I think, because that's what you're doing. Oh, he's playing with the radio now.
Just wait till he starts to text.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah!
Oh, that video's probably going to get its audio muted. Oh man, this is too much. He's got his tools on the roof.
You know, now he broke his cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too much.
Oh man, I hear a Jeep. I wonder if it's still got tools on the roof. No, it doesn't. Okay, the battery on the candy ham's almost gone here, but you lost your seat and you lost your tools.
Alright, let's kick it, come on. Woo, Ghost Run!
They're out of their minds. We're all out of our minds.
If you can't slam it, just take the seat out of it. Oh!
You get out of there for it? Well, I'm proud of him. He didn't use the steering column to pull himself out. We'd be servicing that next. Okay, we're making progress here on the Pontiac project. Again, I almost called it a Buick. And what we're looking at now is the fuse. For the, oh no, that's nice. It's blowing the pages around on me. So now who knows what we're looking at. Oh, there's the compressor controls. That's always good. This is the kind of thing that you fix in video editing. There we go. I knew there was a reason why they gave us 2 of these books.
Oh,
all right.
Toilet paper for the whole shop?
Yeah.
No,
That's the Haynes or Chilton manual. All right. So the keykeeper just pulled and looked at what he believes is fuse 11 in the right-hand instrument panel power distribution center, but nothing's really labeled under there.
Let me see if I can't get a closer look.
He's going to take a closer look, but the 10 amp fuse that he found looks like it has seen some better days. It's not blown. Alright, our adventures continue. The fuse block pursuit was not fruitful. So now we're looking at the solid state, presumably solid state, electronic blower control module, which the service manual helpfully tells us but does not give us a picture of. But it says it's underneath the maxi fuse and relay block center. It looks like someone may have replaced this on this car before, because here are a couple of heat shrink blocks that go from colored wiring to generic gray wiring. It goes into that module.
There's no third connector.
We're gonna know in just yeah, that bad boy is solid state. Got a heat sink on it. Nice heat sink too.
I don't know if I can get that out.
Dr. Jeepin Science says,
Wow,
GM is a piece of crap.
that is a
huge.
really nice heat sink. And there's a driver transistor on there, probably SJ41042 from On Semiconductor. Huh. Ooh, I see an electrolytic capacitor that's had some better days. Let's pull the wiring harness connectors off there and do our prescribed check from the service manual. We found even more trouble down here. Look at that. That bad boy's been hot. I don't know if I'd say it's ruined, but it's definitely going to need some help. Okay, everybody, just to wrap things up, we followed the procedure, the flow chart given in the service manual. And what we have found is that in addition to a slightly cooked B+ wiring harness going into the blower control module there, we also have a dead blower control module. It fails the tests prescribed in the manual. But it certainly didn't hurt anything to go and fix this wiring, so it's in a little better shape. And to switch out, yep, there we go.
Anyway, I'll get
To switch out the blower motor for one that's in better shape, because it's hard to say for sure what exactly was the demise of this module. Going by the date code on this transistor, 0616, 2006, week 16 in all likelihood, it can be certain that someone has done this before, and for some reason they had reason to replace the wiring harness with a different one.
I can tell you why.
Probably because
It got
hot and it started to burn up.
Same thing had to do on the fan connector.
So there you have it, everybody. We'll see about finding another one of these. We'll probably go to a wrecking yard for the B+ connector, and the story shall continue.